we could. Okay, good evening and welcome. If everybody could take their seats, I think we're getting ready to get started here. My name is Tom Roy. I'm Director of Public Works here in Simsbury, and I am coordinating some of our Solarize Simsbury activities. And I just have to start off by saying I cannot believe the turnout we have here tonight. So give yourselves a big round of applause. I'm excited to see so many people in Simsbury who are interested in learning a little bit more.
My name's Tom Roy. I'm Director of Public Works here in the town of Simsbury. I am not an audiovisual specialist. I'd like to, first of all, as we just said, we have a lot of people here who are very interested in learning a little bit more about residential solar here in the town of Simsbury. This is a very exciting program. It's been sponsored by the state of Connecticut and a number of other towns. But here in Simsbury, I think we have a chance to, and we have the attendance to show that we might be one of the leading towns in the entire state in terms of our ability to put solar energy on residential homes. I think everybody's excited to learn a little bit more about how we can both save the environment and save a little bit of money each and every month on our utility bill. But first, I wanted to start off our presentation with our first selectman, Mary Glassman, without whose support this program wouldn't be possible. Mary?
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here. When we first decided to participate in this program, we thought we'd have 6 people in a phone booth who would be interested in solarizing Simsbury. But it's great to see the turnout. Congratulations. Give yourself a big hand for going green in Simsbury. Just a couple of quick thank yous, and then we'll get right to the program. First, I want to thank Tom Roy, our Public Works Director, for his initiative in bringing this to Simsbury. So thank you, Tom. Also want to thank the Clean Energy Task Force, a group of volunteers who give their time and talents to bring great programs to our town. So if you're a member of the Clean Energy Task Force, please stand so we can thank you for your efforts. Don't be shy. Thank you. Also want to thank our solar ambassadors, led by Mark Scully, who's here. Mark, if you could stand. And where are you? And Brad Mee. Brad, please stand. And all our other solar ambassadors, Nevin Christensen, Wayne, where's Wayne Wagner, some of the other folks, thank you for your leadership. This wouldn't have been possible. Simsbury tonight joins 11 other communities in providing opportunities for residents to participate in solarizing their community, their homes. You don't have to participate, but if you do, and we work together, we can get reduced rates. So this is a voluntary program, and Simsbury is very proud to be only one of 11 towns that are participating in this phase. I also want to thank the state of Connecticut, the Clean Energy Finance and Investment Authority, and Smart Power that picked Simsbury over many other communities, so thank you for picking us. I heard a rumor that we are tied with Durham for the highest number of people who are interested, so come on, Simsbury, we can do better. Let's go. And I want to thank the Board of Selectmen for their support and endorsement to allow us to file this application. I see Lisa Havner is here from the Board of Selectmen. Thank you, Lisa. Is there anyone else here from the Board of Selectmen? Thank you, Lisa. And finally, we went out to an RFP, a very competitive process, and we are very fortunate that the company that won the competitive process is C-Tech Solar, which is right here in the town of Simsbury. So congratulations to Mickey Toro. Good job. So if you decide to participate, you'll not only be participating in a wonderful program, but you'll be supporting a local business. So thank you for all being here, for your interest in making Simsbury green, and we look forward to a great evening. Thank you. Tom?
Thank you. Isn't Mary great? She's the one who supported this program. She supported a number of green initiatives in town, and I think it's what makes Simsbury such a great place to live. I think if you also look over at the folks from C-Tech, they brought an absolute army here tonight. And part of the reason they did that is when we're done, we're not only going to have a question and answer, but we're going to have a time for each and every one of you to talk one-on-one with one of these many folks in the blue shirts. Before we go any further, we wanted to recognize from the state of Connecticut, Robert Schmidt, who is with CFIA, which is the Connecticut Clean Energy and Investment Finance Authority. Whew, it's a long one, it's a long one. And Kate, who's also with the marketing end of thing, which is part of how we get some of the word out. So Robert and Kate, if I can turn it over to you.
All right. All right, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for Selectman Glassman. Really appreciate you guys having us here tonight. And thank you to all of you who came out tonight. We love seeing this amount of support for clean energy, and it's very exciting to be in this town tonight. Unfortunately, Mary hit a lot of the high points for me, so I don't have as much interesting stuff to say because you did a great job of summarizing why we're here tonight. But, Mickey, if you can go to the next slide there. The reason we're here is for the Solarize Connecticut program. The theme of that program is Solar, Simple, Together. So we're hoping to bring as much residential solar to this community over the next 20 weeks as possible by breaking down some barriers that have been in place before. So we know solar is a proven technology. It's working. There's a lot of people in town that are already using it. But sometimes you need some education to learn how it works, and that's why we're having workshops like this, and we'll be having opportunities over the next 20 weeks. Going solar can be a complicated process. There's some 70, 80 installers that are listed in the state of Connecticut as being allowed to do this type of work. There's different equipment, different types of panels, different types of inverters. We're hoping to take down some of those barriers and make the process much simpler, again, by offering these educational opportunities, selecting an individual installer to work with, and by working with the town to help get the word out. And that's the big important part here, together. So through this program, we're able to drive volume to a single installer, reduce pricing by doing that, and again, bring down a barrier, which is cost, by doing this as a community. So this is, like I said, a 20-week program. It is state-sponsored and town-sponsored, so we have buy-in from both of those parties. And again, we'll be using a group purchasing model. You can see some collateral pieces up here. You'll be seeing this brand. This is, by the way, the biggest solarized thermometer in the state of Connecticut, so you guys do have that record. And you'll hopefully see over the next 20 weeks that thermometer filling up over time until it gets right to the top. And I think CTEC has plans to keep going beyond that. Go ahead to the next slide. As Tom mentioned, I'm with the Clean Energy Finance Investment Authority. Yes, it is a mouthful, but it'll roll off your tongues by the end of this 20 weeks. Throughout the program, we're going to be working behind, Kate's shaking her head. It never gets easy. We're going to be working behind the scenes to make sure that this program is going smoothly. One of our big roles is providing incentives that buy down the cost of system over time, as well as offering financing products. So we've designed a lease product as well as multiple loan products that CTEC will be telling you about tonight, and when they come out to your home and sit down with you. We'll also be doing quality control of systems, monitoring things after this program is over and as your installations are going in. As was mentioned earlier, Kate is joining me tonight. She works with Smart Power, which is a nonprofit marketing firm that's going to be very involved in this process over the next 20 weeks.
Thanks. I'm so happy to see so many people here. I think this is going to be an incredibly successful program. What my role from Smart Power is to coordinate education and outreach with the town, but between your installer and the amazing people in working on this campaign already, you won't see much of me here. We do develop marketing materials for the campaign. They all come in the blue and yellow. Oh yeah, you could hit that one more time. Oh, they come in the blue and yellow, you'll see that. And we also maintain a website for Solarize campaigns across the state. And Simsbury has its own page. It's solarizect.com/Simsbury. And the wonderful thing is, like tonight, if you go home and you're not quite sure about something that was said, or if you want to read about it, you can go on this website. There's frequently asked questions about solar. There's an amazingly good financing page, which gives you many financing options, and there's a contact form. And you can go right on the website and say you want to request a site visit, and that'll go directly to CTEC, and that you can sign up right there. So there's also testimonials and videos on the website, and we really encourage you to utilize it. There's a toolkit that has some of the materials, the flyers, the banners that we use, and a newsroom of the various things that have appeared in the press around the state. So we really encourage you to use that website. As of today, I believe there were 384 visits to the website, and that's before we even launched the program, so that's amazing. One of the things that we do is work with the solar ambassadors, and you met many of them here tonight. This is Pam Courier. She has solar. I don't know if she's here tonight, but she had solar installed, I believe, about a year ago. That's her with her inverter. And so we're looking for more people to help us get the word out. Because as you know, and you'll learn about this more from CTEC, there's a tiered pricing structure. So the more people who, work and decide to go solar, the cheaper your price will be. So I encourage all of you to become solar ambassadors for this program. Next one. All right, here you go.
And so your first selectman mentioned a rigorous RFP process, and I do want to make sure that we talk a little bit about that, to make sure that you guys know that CTEC had to go through a really lengthy vetting process to be selected for this community. So Cephia issued on behalf of the municipality a request for proposals looking for installers who were providing not only competitive pricing, but also quality equipment, a quality service, and many other criteria and ability to work with your community to provide it the best level of service possible. And through that process, Cephia and the town were able to identify CTEC, and I know they are very excited as a local company to be working here, and we're very excited to see them working with your community over the next 20 weeks. One thing that we do really want to reiterate is that this is a program that has a deadline. As I mentioned earlier, Cephia is providing state incentives. Those can only be in place for a certain amount of time before they start to step down over time. Those are locked in for the duration of this program to September 23rd. After that, they will be going down eventually. CTEC is offering very competitive pricing, as I mentioned, but part of the reason they're able to do that is because of putting in a volume of work, lowering their marketing costs. It's not something that they can extend on and on forever. So there is a deadline. If you take one thing away tonight, it's September 23rd. That is the date by which you will need to sign a contract with the solar installer in order to take advantage of all the great aspects of the Solarize Connecticut program. One more slide.
If you need to get in touch with Robert, who does a lot of the reviewing of the contracts, if you have any technical questions, that's his information. If you want some information that's not quite as technical, you could contact me.
All right. So again, thank you guys all so much for coming out tonight. As I mentioned, a very important aspect of this program is the community aspect. So we're all doing this as a group, as a team, and we are thrilled to be working with Simsbury over the next 20 weeks. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you guys, and I think they put together a great program. I think, as Robert alluded to, it alleviates a lot of the fears and a lot of the confusion that a lot of homeowners have embarking onto this new technology. And I think that we have plenty of time between now and September 23rd to get everybody in here signed up, and hopefully all of your neighbors. Mickey Taro from CTEC is going to be picking up our program next. He's going to go through exactly how some of the pricing structure works and how they go out to determine which homes are most eligible and how the process is going to work. Mickey. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out. First, I do want to thank Mary and Tom and the folks that chose us, all the ambassadors and the committee that chose Tech Solar. It was a, I don't know what I would tell you if I didn't get chosen. I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be off a bridge, jumping off a bridge somewhere. I was very excited to get the opportunity to offer this program to the town of Simsbury. I'm a resident of Simsbury. Our offices are in Simsbury. We have people who work with us that live in Simsbury, and it's very personal to me that this goes the way it's supposed to and that we have a success. And as Tom mentioned, or Mary might have mentioned, we have a goal. My personal goal is to beat the record, and I believe it's 115 homes in the town of Durham. 117 homes in the town of Durham. So if anybody knows me, I've actually volunteered for the Simsbury High basketball team for a few years. I've been a coach with them. Haven't done it recently because we've been too busy. But if you knew anything about me, you know that I'm very competitive. So the one thing that I want to do is get quality installations, first and foremost, on as many homes in Simsbury as possible, but definitely beat that record that they have in Durham. So we hope we can do that. Let me ask you a question real quick. If I can just get a show of hands, how many people have actually signed up with us to have a site survey done? Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. So I see that it's a few of you guys, but I wanted to just sort of let you all know that we already have 98 folks that have signed up for site surveys. And there's probably 20 of you here, so there's another maybe 70 of you here that have not signed up for site surveys. So that's exciting, because I was thinking, well, maybe everybody here is who's contacted us already, but that's not the case. So we have a lot more people that are interested, so that's very exciting. And I will say, we already have one closed contract. So we haven't even started the program yet, and we do have one that was signed today. So that's exciting, and I think we did the visit a couple days ago, and they signed up today, so that's exciting. So we're already almost through Tier 1, so that's exciting. You're going to hear more about the tiers and how it works. The more people that sign up, the lower the price gets for everyone. And so I was thinking, what can I do? I asked Robin, and as I said, I'm so passionate about the success of this program, and we tend to get people to sign up as the program gets later and later, because they want to sort of let their neighbors do it, and they want to see how low the price is going to go. So it's sort of usually a slower process, and then it sort of ramps up at the end. But I wanted to sort of figure out a way to encourage folks to do it right, to if they like what they see, to do it as soon as possible. So I asked Robert, and he gave the okay. We're actually going to start the program in Tier 3. So you're going to see what that means through this program. But so you can forget about what it says in Tier 1, you forget about what it says in Tier 2. We're going to start the pricing in Tier 3. And that's generally about, I think, maybe 10 to 15 projects that would have to get contract before we get to that. So I wanted to make that clear to you guys, because as I said, I'm very passionate. I care very much that this particular program, we've done 6 to 8 other towns already, including West Hartford, and I see Catherine Deviney is here, who is a resident of Simsbury, but someone who works very hard in the energy task force in West Hartford. We've already done West Hartford and some other towns, and we were very passionate about that as a neighbor, but I want as much success to happen for the town of Simsbury as possible. So Tier 3 to start. Without further ado, we're going to get into the program. I'm going to introduce Alex Fox, who is one of our business development folks and our commercial manager. Here you go, Alex. Thank you very much.
Did you want to introduce people, or you want me to do it?
Actually, before I let Alex go, I want to take a quick second to introduce the folks here. You already know who I am, but I'm not going to go in any order, but their all names are up there. Dale, who's standing here, is one of the owners, and he acts as a full-service manager and a special projects manager, jack of all trades. Glenn Barisi, who's our operations manager. Glenn has been in the business for many years. He's actually installed Nevin's project at Farming Farm. So say hi to Glenn. Dawn is our office manager, Don Pascal. Josh Ferguson is a project manager and our solar designer, been in the industry for 11 years, moved from California, been doing it a long time, longer than most people in the state here have been doing it. Laura Donato is one of our customer care managers. She'll be a liaison for most of you through your project when you're dealing with your timelines and different things that you'll need to know. Jeff is one of our business development and our solar consultants, so you'll see him out at your home, possibly. Mike Morrison is involved in our office. I'm trying to see what I actually will. Order expediter and permit and scheduling manager. So he deals with all your scheduling for your installations and getting your interconnections and your permits done. Jacob Wheel is a inside sales and sort of a site scheduler. He'll work the magic of getting you guys all on the schedule and getting our folks out to see you. Megan, who is a Simsbury resident, is our newest, actually, addition to our team here, and she works alongside with Mike on the interconnections and permitting processes. Dave Henry is our solar site assessor, so he's going to go out to homes and evaluate your roofs and make sure that the measurements are correct, and he's also done some solar consulting with us as well. Aaron is one of our project managers for our residential projects. He's an E1 electrician and our lead guy out in the field. Andrew is one of our solar consultants. Mark also is a solar consultant. The next Mark is another solar consultant. And Edwin is also a solar consultant. You got a lot of people, you need a lot of people to come see you. So that's our team, and again, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mickey. So I'm Alex Fox, sales manager here at C-Tech Solar. And as has already been said a lot of times, we're really excited to be here in the town of Simsbury because we not only want to get a lot more solar out there, but we also live and work here in this community. So just to give you a quick overview of who C-Tech Solar is, C-Tech Solar has actually been in the solar business since 1976. So we started out doing solar thermal or solar hot water installations under the programs that were available then, sort of during the first energy crisis. And then in the last couple of years, we've moved into doing solar PV or solar electric systems. And I'm also excited to say that since that time, in the last report that was put out by Sophia, we actually installed the largest number of residential systems in the past year here in the state of Connecticut. So part of our focus and what we really do as a company is assessing each home and trying to find the solution that works best for your needs, and that can be either solar thermal or solar PV. We make use of the most cutting-edge technology and products, as well as use financing options that really allow solar to be affordable for everybody. The company was actually purchased from the original owners a few years ago by Mickey and Gene Rosenberg. Gene is a prominent local and Connecticut businessman, the original founder of Bob's Discount Furniture. So we do bring a long history of customer service as well as business experience to the solar industry. Go to the next one. So why solar? I think anybody who watches the news knows that there's a declining supply of fossil fuels at the same time when energy demand is rising. So that necessarily kind of means that there are increasing electrical rates. I think, for a couple of years in Connecticut, electrical rates had sort of stayed flat or maybe decreased a little bit, and then everybody sort of got a fairly large shock at the beginning of this year when electrical rates for CL&P customers went up 21%. And I believe there is another rate increase that was just approved this past week by the state legislature that's going to take effect this summer. So people saw electric bills going up quite a bit, and I think this summer when the air conditioning starts coming on, it's going to be even a little bit more painful. Connecticut does actually have the second highest electrical rates in the country. But Connecticut has been a real leader in renewable energy technologies and support of renewable energy through SFIA's, the Clean Energy Finance Investment Authority's innovative programs. One of those programs is the solar rebate program. So SFIA offers a rebate that, depending on some of the specifics of your site, can actually cover 30, 40% of the system's total cost. And of course, everyone is eligible for the solar federal tax credit, which can cover an additional 30% of a system's cost. So I think typically we're seeing people getting between 50 to 60% of their total system cost covered between the combination of these incentives. If you have a really good site, it could be even greater than that. So this means that not only is solar good for the environment, but it also makes a lot of sense as an investment, and I'll go through some of the specifics of that. I think that we've already covered a little bit of what the Solarize program is, but Solarize is essentially a bulk buying program. So since we're the installer here, selected as the installer here in Simsbury, we get the economy of scale of doing a lot of installations in a small geographic area in a certain amount of time. And basically, the first people that sign up get one price. We're starting at tier 3, and then as more people sign up, essentially, we can eventually offer you the 250 kilowatt price for your 5 or 10 kilowatt residential system, whatever it is that you need. Go on. So, how does solar work? Essentially, we put solar PV panels up on your roof. Solar PV panels turn sunlight directly into DC electricity. So we bring that to an inverter that converts the DC to AC, which is what the appliances in your house use. During the day, when the sun's shining, you're creating electricity. Anything you're running in the house will actually use the electricity coming off of the roof first. Anything extra that you produce at that time goes back out into the electrical grid through a special meter that CL&P will install, and you receive a credit for that. So there's no actual on-site storage of the electricity. However, at night, when there's no sun and you're not producing electricity, you're still able to pull from the electrical grid for your electrical needs. And you can apply these credits that you built up during the day and get a one-to-one savings off of your electric bill. Likewise, you can carry these credits from month to month across the year. So depending on the size of your solar system and the size of your electric bill, we could design a system that annually could cover 100% of your use. Frequently, around now, when hopefully there's a fair amount of sun, but you don't have the AC on yet, you may build up some credits. You then apply those in the summer when maybe you're using more electricity, or build some up in the fall to apply in the winter when there's less sunshine. So, frequently get the question, is our home good for solar? Is your home good for solar? And I think sort of the short answer is, well, do you have an electric bill? So, in a sense, every home is good for solar, or maybe we should say solar is good for every home. But I think the longer answer is that pretty much every home can work. Some homes are a little bit more challenging than others, but we do have a solution for every potential site issue. Sometimes it's a question of what your threshold is for additional expense and the return on the investment. But generally speaking, any roof, as long as your roof faces south, west, or east, then it's a viable roof. Power production is maximized when you're facing south, but these other orientations do work. Is the roof clear of obstructions? What we run into a lot is there enough available space up on the roof to put up a large enough solar system to cover 100% of your bill? So that is a factor, But, from the return on investment standpoint, even if you're only covering a portion of your electric bill, the return on the investment is, the same or proportional to if you had a larger system to a large degree. The roof itself is at less than 10 years old. That's sort of a threshold point that we use. You can certainly put solar on a roof that's older than 10 years old. However, if the roof needs to be replaced, you'd have to remove the system, replace the roof, and put it back up, which can result in some extra expense. Probably the biggest limiting factor is actually shade. And of course, we live in Connecticut, so there are a lot of trees. Of course, you can always remove trees. We certainly recommend that if you do take out a tree, you should plant another tree in its place, just preferably a variety that's not going to grow taller than your actual roof. You can go to the next one. So this, just to give you some idea, this is an example of a site that would be good for solar. So it has two fairly large roofs clear of obstructions that are basically facing south. There may be some shading in the morning from one of these trees, but you're basically clear all day long. That's what we're ideally looking for. On the other extreme, this is a roof that would not be good for solar. As you can see, it's completely treed in, and even at noon, shade basically covers the entire array. I'll get a little bit into the products in a little bit, but there are some technologies we can use to mitigate the effects of shading to a certain extent. Okay, maybe I'll get into it now. So we offer, we recognize that not all solar panels or products are exactly the same, and different people may have different needs. So we wanted to make available to everyone a full range of different products. The two main modules we sell are actually, some examples are over there. Sort of our entry-level panel is the Phono Solar Diamond. That represents the most competitive price under the program. It's a 250 watt panel. It has a silver frame in the blue cell, which you can see. Some people, because they're limited on space on their roof or for aesthetic reasons, want to use a different module. The Phono Solar Onyx would be the next panel that we would offer. It's a 260. It does have a black solar cell and a black backsheet, so it's a slight premium, but some people feel from the aesthetic standpoint or because they want a little extra wattage that it makes sense. We are proud to be a SunPower dealer. SunPower is actually a different technology, but essentially it allows you to get about 35% more output for the same amount of space as the other panels. It does come at a premium price. When you actually have a site survey, your solar consultant can go over with you some of the specifics of that product. And Solar World is our offering as a Made in America product. So we do support, Made in America manufacturing wherever we can. Go on to the next one. So the other major component of any solar PV system is the inverter. So we offer a couple of different types. The SMA and the Power One are both similar in that they're what you call a string inverter. So you have one single centralized inverter. The sort of negative, so that's the most cost-effective solution. However, in situations where there's shading, you do get a little bit more degradation or lose more output when you're using a single string inverter. A little bit of shading on one piece of the array could reduce the output not just of that one panel, but all the ones that are connected to it electrically in a series string. So to kind of mitigate that, one product we offer is the N-phase microinverter. With the N-phase product, every solar panel actually has its own, small micro inverter installed with it. Shade on one panel would affect that one panel, but the other modules in the array would continue operating at their maximum efficiency. There are a few other points about that inverter, but those are things that your solar consultant can discuss with you in your home. But I wouldn't want anybody to think, right off the bat that their house doesn't necessarily qualify just because there are some shading issues. Not every roof is suitable for solar, or certain people are such situated that they would prefer to put the solar array on the ground. We offer a variety of ground mount products, including a tracker system where you would actually have the solar array on a pole, and a motor would actually, with a GPS, would actually move the array. So it would follow the sun from east to west across the sky, also adjusting the pitch of the array for the time of day and time of year. You can get 20 to 35% or so more output actually out of an array by doing that. So it also allows you to put up a smaller system but produce the same output of a larger system. So if you are limited on space and you want to go on the ground, that can be a solution. We offer fixed top of pole mount solutions where it's the same sort of idea, but it's a fixed array, or a more traditional kind of what we call the pleacher style ground mount system. So we have options for pretty much every situation. So I mentioned our heritage as being solar thermal or solar hot water. A solar thermal system is a completely separate technology from solar PV. Essentially, you have a panel that has copper piping going through it. It has insulation. It has a flat plate. And it's glazed. It has glass. And essentially, this is to preheat the domestic hot water for your house. So that's whenever you turn on the faucet for showers, cooking, laundry, etc. The way the system would work is you have a tank, you have a controller, and you have a pumping station. And essentially, the controller senses the temperature up on the roof, and when the temperature up at the collectors is 12 degrees hotter than the temperature at the bottom of the tank, the control turns the pump on. The pump circulates the cool glycol through the collector and pulls out the heat, and then you exchange it into the potable water in your tank. We try to size a system like that to cover 100% of your domestic hot water needs in the summertime. The reason being, unlike solar PV, with solar thermal, you're actually storing the energy in the tank as opposed to, banking it or sending it back out into the grid. That sort of necessarily means in the winter time, you may preheat your water to 80 or 90 degrees. Your boiler would still come on to bring it up, another 20 or 30 degrees to the temperature you want. But you're getting that proportional savings. So annually, we're looking to cover about 75% of your domestic hot water needs. And that should save you between 15 to 20% on your oil bill or your gas bill, whatever you traditionally use to heat your hot water. I think we already went through some of this. So we can go right to the tiered pricing. So as we mentioned, Solarize is a bulk buying program. Tier 1 typically represents about the first 4 systems contracted. That's about 25 kilowatts. Tier 2 would be another 4 systems. Tier 3 is approximately 15 systems contracted. So once you get up to, so we're starting off in Tier 3, once we have about 15 systems contracted here in town, then we break into the 4th tier of pricing, and now the price is lower for everybody, including, the first people who signed up. And then Tier 5, another 15 systems, and we'll be in Tier 5, which is the highest level of pricing. And those savings would then be passed on to everybody here in town. So everybody wants to know about the price. That's always the pink elephant in the room. So we put together some sample economics. So over the past Solarize programs that we've done, an average size system typically seems to be about 7 kilowatts. Based on the tier 1 pricing, the system cost would be $26,810. Assuming you have a fairly good site, your CT solar rebate would be $7,225. Then you would get the additional 30% federal tax credit. So after everything's said and done, you've got about 50% of the total gross system cost covered between the combination of those incentives, less your first year electrical savings. Essentially, you're looking at getting a $27,000 system for $12,282. If you look at that in terms of, and you're, saving approximately $1,400 a year in electricity, if you look at that simply in terms of, the amount of time to recoup your entire investment, if you assume around a 3% a year inflation rate for electricity, bear in mind it's already gone up 21% this year, of course, you'd be looking at about a 9-year simple payback on the system. However, one of the things we usually really look at in the industry is what we call the break-even point. So if you assume that you weren't to buy solar and you were simply to go on paying your electric bill, and maybe it's going up about 3% a year, compared to if you actually bought the solar system, you lay out the $12,282, and then you're buying it down essentially by the electrical savings, you'd reach a point in about 5.5 years with this system where you would have paid as much money in electricity as you've already paid off of your solar system. So essentially, you're going to pay that amount of money one way or the other. Either you're just going to give it to the utility and then keep paying them, or you're going to spend it by building equity in something that you actually own that has a real return, and then at the end of it, you own the system outright, and then you're getting essentially free electricity, or you're putting money in your pocket, basically making money. The tier 5 price, so you're looking at about a $2,000 on a 7 kilowatt system. It's about $2,000 less. That's $24,850. And I guess I did want to make one point here on these slides. Our beginning tier 1 Solarize price was approximately 20% below what the market average price was in the 6 months leading up to this program. So already just in tier 1, the town of Simsbury is, getting offered a discount compared to what the market price is in Connecticut, a fairly substantial one, about 20%. By the time you get to tier 5, it's somewhere between 25, I think, to 30% less than the market rate in Connecticut leading up to this program. You'd still get the $7,225 rebate. You still get the you get a 30% federal tax credit. The subtotal, $12,338. Same electrical savings a year, but essentially, you would have paid $11,000 for the $25,000 system. The simple payback of 8 years, but a break-even point of just 4.5 years, and that's assuming, a sort of conservative 3% a year inflation rate of electricity over a 25-year term. All the modules come with a 25-year power warranty. You would have saved, over $30,000 in electricity. So part of our mission, or what we really want to do at our core, is to make solar accessible to everyone. And part of the way we've done that is by offering some innovative finance solutions. The first being the CT solar loan. The CT solar loan is a unsecured 15-year loan. And sort of the focus of this program is to put each customer in a position where they're paying less on a monthly basis on their loan payment than what they're saving in electricity. So you can be cash flow positive immediately. This is really achieved by the fact that you can re-amortize the loan within the first 18 months. So typically what we see is initially you'd be paying a little bit more on the loan than what you're saving in electricity, but if you take the tax credit when you receive it and buy down the loan for that amount, then you'd be cash flow positive. The CT Solar Lease is a program that allows you to go solar with zero money down, similar to the loan. However, a finance company owns the system. They monetize the tax credits. You really don't have to worry about any of that. And the mandate of the program is that that your monthly payment be less than what you're saving in electricity. So lets you go solar for zero money down, and you can start saving immediately. The Smart E-Loan is a product that really helps if you want to own the system in a fairly short period of time. But you want to finance it, and that's a program that works in conjunction with local banks. Admiral's Bank is another product that we offer, and that's an FHA Title I loan, and that can make sense for people in certain situations. So one thing your solar consultant will be doing when they come out to your home is really working with you to find the finance solution that makes the most sense. Go on. I think I already went through some of these, but essentially with the CT solar loan, it's a 15-year term. It only requires 5% down. One point that I should make is that solar improvements to your home are property tax exempt in the state of Connecticut. So even though solar raises your property value, you can't actually be assessed any additional taxes by the town. A number of years ago, the National Appraisers Society had come out with this guideline for sort of how to evaluate solar improvements to your home. And the New York Times actually came out with a fairly large article just last year saying that this valuation has really held true. Essentially what they said was every dollar that you save in electricity should add $20 worth of value to your house. So in the example earlier, you're spending, I think in Tier 5, you were spending like $10,000 to save $1,400 a year in electricity. So essentially you're paying $10,000 to add almost $30,000 worth of value to your home, and of course that's property tax exempt. We use both the Sunrun and the CT solar lease, and sort of as I mentioned, this is the sort of no hassles way to go solar that can make sense for some people. And we'll talk about the specifics of this in your home, but like I said, it's zero money down and you start saving immediately. So what's next? Essentially, you leave us your information here tonight. The solar site coordinator, Jacob in this instance, will give you a call. He'll look up the house on Google Earth and qualify the site. Your solar consultant will come out and visit the home. He'll give you a proposal. He'll discuss the options with you, and if you like what you see, you have the option to sign a contract and go ahead right there. That triggers the office process, so we'll process the permit, the rebate, the interconnection paperwork, so we offer a full turnkey solution. We do the installation of the solar array. Gets inspected, the utility comes out and changes your meter, and you're turned on, and yay, everybody's happy. So I guess just to go through a brief summary here, and then I think we'll take some questions perhaps. We're offering tiered pricing, great financing options, both solar photovoltaic and hot water systems. Using industry-leading equipment and technology. We really want to satisfy a full range of homeowner budgets. We're a local company with made in the U.S. purchasing options, and I think I'll just say one more time, that we're really happy to be here in our hometown of Simsbury, and looking forward to having a successful program.
Okay, so this is the time where we like to take some questions from as many folks as we can, and we'll also be here at the end of this to answer any questions, so feel free to come and speak with us, and also don't forget to sign up as you walk out. I guess we'll start here.
Talk about the monitoring system. As a homeowner, you can monitor how much electricity you're saving online, is that correct?
Give him the mic? Yep. Okay, I'll give you the mic.
And most of these systems, you can monitor online the savings that you're experiencing in your home, and you can every day see what you're saving. I believe that's part of the system. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. With every system that we install an online data monitoring system. So your production is actually reported to Sophia, but you can go online and see what you're producing every day, look at your savings, as well as run various historical reports. The other benefit of the data monitoring is that it's actually hooked up to us. So if there were anything that went wrong with your system, we would be emailed an alert, and we'd immediately get out there. If you're like me, for about the first month or two, I looked at my system every day, or maybe it was like the first 6 months or a year, but at this point, I assume everything's all right, but you have the peace of mind that we would be alerted if anything did go wrong, and we'd get right out there.
What kind of maintenance fees or homeowner fees, service fees do you expect the average homeowner would experience? First year, 5 years, 10 years?
Right, so I guess one thing that I didn't mention is that CTEC Solar actually has an industry-leading 13-year labor warranty. So anything related to labor is something that we would cover for free within the first 13 years. But the short answer regarding maintenance of solar PV systems is that solar PV systems really don't require much, if any, real maintenance. There are no moving parts. There's nothing really to go wrong. The only sort of recommended course of maintenance is that you might want to hose the system off once or twice a year if you see a collection of pollen or dust. I personally did that for the first couple of years and didn't really notice any increase in the output, so I sort of just let it go to itself.
Before we go ahead with any more questions, I just was reminded by Mark, who's diligent, that we have offered, and you'll hear this in the home, but I want to let you all know, we've offered the first 3 homeowners that sign up. This was part of our RFP request or answer to the town's request, $1,000 off the first 3 contracts. We already had 1, so we have 2 left. And then we're also offering for the next 3 a $500 discount from those contracts. So before I forget, I wanted to make sure.
Okay, right back here.
I don't know if you're the right person to answer this, but in terms of aesthetics, does the town of Simsbury have any zoning regulations over front yard, backyard, panels on the ground, panels on the roof?
Actually, we've done quite a few projects in Simsbury, and in fact, one of our customers is here now, at least one, there might be more, that the town has been very receptive, and we haven't had any facts that have been stated that we can't do an array for any zoning issues or anything like that. Aesthetically, I mean, that's more, I think, on a decision of yours as a homeowner. The only thing that may be of some consequence might be obviously a ground mount that was going to go in on your yard. That would have to be, I'm certainly a certain part of the zoning process, but other than that, nothing else.
Yeah, I can say on the town's behalf, generally speaking, the town is open to solar. This was part of how we were selected for the program, and with the minor exception of the historic district, very few limitations, and even with the solar, or the historic district, there's no prohibitions on putting solar up. So, take one from the middle.
That's great.
I actually have 3 questions. I'll ask them all at once, and then you can answer as you feel appropriately. What happens with respect to warranties on the roof when you do an installation on the roof? Second, how is this going to affect hookup into my backup generator, as Simsbury is famous for losing power for long lengths of time? And thirdly, I've got all underground utilities. What is that going to do to cost of installation and everything?
Well, I'll start with the utilities. We're really going into your meter and not really addressing anything that would be underground, so that's not really an added cost or added work for us or for your home. I already forgot the other 2 questions. Bad.
We had generator and roof warranty.
Generator is not an issue. It would just be part of the schematics and the engineering that we do. Generally, what would happen is your power would be the power you need would be used from the solar array first. If you have a power outage, generator would kick on, the array would kick off. You do not backfeed into the grid as a power outage is occurring. Your generator would then take over for you. And then the other question? What was the other question? Roof warranty. We don't have issues with roof warranties, right? I mean, there's nothing that I know of. From what I warranty on the roof, certainly our labor warranty covers. Yeah. So when we're working on your home, it's not going to affect your warranty. There's not going to be any damage to your warranty, and certainly with the work that we do, you're not going to have any issues with leaks or any of that from that standpoint. But certainly from a warranty standpoint, it would not be prohibitive in any way.
Okay, over here.
For your 7 kilowatt system, how many panels do you have, and what's the size of each panel?
Well, the average size is about 17.5 square feet for a panel. I think there's about 28 panels that we're currently using in the size density that we're using, which is 250 to 260. So if you do the math on that, I can't do it that quickly in my head, but that would tell you what square footage you would need. What is it? 570 square feet. There you go.
I have a question. You mentioned that you have a choice for U.S. panels, and you didn't say much about them, so I'd like to just know a little bit more about that choice. I'd like to know what it costs if there's an increase in improvement in technology to take your panels off and replace them. And the last question I have is, you mentioned something about the New York Times saying that there's an added value when you put solar on your home, but I'm afraid it was very unclear to me at least. So if you could explain that if you invest 20-some thousand and it actually turns out to be 14,000, whatever it is, what can you expect back in terms of when you sell your home? If you can use real numbers, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
So I guess first in regards to the Made in America panel, so Solar World is the Made in America manufacturer that we use. They're a German company. I believe their factory is in Oregon, either Oregon or Washington. I believe it's in Oregon. It's there is an extra cost adder. I believe it's, you know what it is?
Off the top of my head.
It's approximately 20 cents a watt. What would that mean? On a 5 kilowatt system, it should be approximately $1,000 additional cost. There are some other nice features to that product. It does have a linear power warranty, which is a slightly better warranty, something that your solar consultant can go into the details with a little bit more when they're at home, in your home. Concerning the newer technology, so, of course that's a question that we get a lot. Essentially what I usually tell people is a watt, meaning that when we're talking about newer products or higher efficiency, usually what we're talking about is producing more electricity for the same amount of physical space, a smaller panel. But if I can cover 100% of your electric bill right now with the amount of available space that you have on your roof, what kind of becomes controlling is what price are you paying for that watt of electricity. And right now, you're sort of benefiting from a number of market conditions that are favorable. You're getting a large rebate from the state of Connecticut. What we've seen with these rebates is that they decrease over time, and indeed that's the state's plan, is to eventually eliminate the rebate program. So the rebate has already dropped twice in the last year. So as more capacity is installed, they drop the rebate. So the first Solarize program that we did, the rebate today is about 15% less than what we were able to offer people really just a year ago. So this is a great time to take advantage of that. The 30% federal tax credit is currently, set to continue through 2016, but that's not a program that'll go on indefinitely. And then, there had been a lot of decreases in solar PV module price over the past couple of years, largely due to market conditions. But because of a couple of international trade cases, we've actually seen an increase of almost 15% in panel prices over the past, 6 to 8 months, with another increase planned if the current tariff goes through in a few more months. So right now you can get almost 50% of the system's cost covered with between these incentive programs. Module prices are very reasonable, so you might as well start saving money now, even if in 5 years panels come down 50% in price. You'd be in the same position you are today, so you might as well start saving money. And then the last question you'd asked was regarding the National Appraiser Society guideline. So what they said is every dollar that you save in electricity should add $20 worth of value to the home. So in our example of the 7 kilowatt system, we had said you were going to save about $1,400 a year. So that would be approximately $28,000 or something in added value to the home that it would be appraised at. Now, the other thing that the New York Times, those are the guidelines, but what the New York Times article really said is, that people are really seeing and getting in the actual market that 20-to-1 ratio. But the other point they made in that article was that homes that have solar are selling a lot quicker than homes that don't, because increasingly today when people are shopping for homes, they're not just looking at, can I afford the mortgage, but they're also asking themselves, can I afford the utility bills to run the home, so on and so forth. So seen as advantageous.
I think maybe just one or two more questions, because let's not forget we have an army of CTEC volunteers over here that are ready to answer some of the specific questions. So I saw a couple up front here. Anyone?
If for some reason you had to replace the system or replace the roof after the system was installed, what kind of cost is that in addition to the initial cost?
Yeah, that's generally about a day's, day to take it off and a day to put it back on. So it's minimal. It's anywhere from, I think we've identified it as anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500.
Okay, why don't we do one more, and then we have a couple quick announcements and refreshments in back.
How does that work out with home insurance?
You will want to add it to your home insurance, but it's a nominal fee. It's anywhere from, I think, $20 to $40 a year that you would probably want to add to your rate for your insurance.
In other words, of a tree or branch?
Yeah, it would be covered under, that's all. You add it to your policy, and it would be covered under that.
And I think in some ways that might be a good place to start. Just a point that Ray Kavanaugh here called me earlier today to let me know that not only was he interested in coming out here today, but how many years have you had your solar system up?
I've had the hot water system done during the Reagan administration, and I haven't had to do much of anything to it, and I'm sure the payback I can't compute.
Excellent.
I tell you, that's, I think, the great part about this program is we have solar ambassadors, we have your neighbors and your friends, and you have people that you can go, and as part of this program, we're going to organize solar tours. You're going to have the ability to go and see the solar array at Brad Mead's house. You're going to be able to ask him questions. You're going to be able to see how it's worked for him. The other thing that we have coming up, in addition to the solar tours, we're going to have a special meeting just on financing. I know that there was a lot talked about in this program. I know for many of us that did not major in accounting or finance, it's a little intimidating. We're going to have an expert, Brad Mead again, who's going to spend some time with us in, I think July is a tentative date, to go over all of the specific details so that we can make sure that we're all comfortable moving forward with all of the different options. The other thing, we're going to have our next presentation, which is going to be similar to this, maybe without such nice cookies and refreshments, on May 27th at 7 o'clock at the library. So any of your friends or neighbors that didn't make it here tonight, definitely let them know. Or for some of us whose spouses didn't make it, that might be a great chance to let them hear it as well. So I think now I'd like to just have everybody welcome themselves to the refreshment. We have the examples, and we have our army of CTEC volunteers that are going to stay here as long as you need to answer all of your questions. Thank you. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
I'm Nevin Christensen from Flammick Farm. I was invited to be a solar ambassador, so I put on my suit tonight to look a little bit like an ambassador. But just, I'm hearing a lot of economics and thoughts and worries and this and that. I'm a dumb farmer. I jumped in 2006, had a guy, Glenn, install a huge system on my farm. Neither one of us knew what we were doing. We jumped in. My list price would have been $97,000. Benefits back then paid $52,000, so I paid $45,000. That system has covered that mortgage totally. And so I would, my style is not like many people's styles, but I would encourage you to just jump in. You cannot go wrong. Join the future. The future is not fossil fuels. The future is solar. We're doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.